Well, let's go back to our top story of reforming the United Nations. Ian Williams is a senior analyst for foreign policy in Focus and author of several books on the United Nations, and he joins me now from New York. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Now, it was a measured Donald Trump speaking at the UN a little bit earlier, and he said there can be no more business as usual, and said the United States supports big reforms. So what impression do you think that he's made on his fellow UN members?
Well, actually, this morning's meeting was in full consonance with the usual UN stuff. It was a consensus. It didn't say anything really important. Everybody agreed what they were going to say beforehand. Everyone agrees that everyone has to do better. It was a very typical UN meeting. It's allowing for grandstanding by particular political leaders without actually committing to any action. And nobody knows quite what he wants. Everybody is against bureaucracy. Everybody thinks the United Nations could be more effective. He was completely devoid of any details on how to do that, and didn't address the fact that the US is often one of the impediments to making the UN efficient, because his definition of efficiency is doing what the US wants. Not all the members want that.
They certainly don't. Now, obviously, one of the things he talks about is how the United States is the biggest financier of the United Nations. I mean, he's called it before a club for people to have a good time. Now he's talking about its tremendous potential. Lots of diplomacy. I hear what you're saying about this meeting not really coming up with firm ideas. Well, what reforms do you think Trump would like to see that maybe he doesn't have to pay for?
Well, in the end, the type of reforms the US wants is to get the rest of the world to pay for what the US wants. They want the rest of the world to pay for peacekeeping where the US wants peacekeeping. People in the Pentagon and the State Department are probably whispering into his ear that, look, if the UN doesn't provide these troops, then we'll have to, and we'll have to pay top dollar for it. We won't get contributions from the rest of the world. But I think we have to give him his due, is that he is far less sort of blinkered and prejudiced than many other Republicans would be, or what we often expect from US politicians. He knows the UN. He's worked in New York. He's been a property developer. Half of his tenants are from the US, so from the United Nations. So he knows that the United Nations isn't the complete sort of alien intrusion that people from the Midwest of the United States might think, for example. So in that sense, I think he's surprisingly less prejudiced than many other people would have assumed based on his own background here. But I don't think he has a clear, joined-up policy about exactly what it is that he wants out of the United Nations, apart from doing what the United States says. Obviously, he wants the UN to whack North Korea. He wants the UN to stop attacking Israel. He wants the UN to look after US friends and attack US enemies. The rest of the world doesn't agree with that. So the definitions of efficiency are going to be slightly different.
So America first, but the devil, of course, will be in that detail. Ian Williams, senior analyst for foreign policy in Focus. Thank you very much.